Hello, saints of God, thank you for tuning into today's broadcast. Let's listen in to see what Pastor, Teacher Dr. James Sutton has to say today. Let's listen in.
Hello everybody, this is Pastor Jay. I just come on for a second. I want to talk to you, the title, Super Saint Suffering. Super Saint Suffering. You know, there's sometimes what happens with most people, and it's quite disturbing with the super saints. You keep forgetting that everybody has a past. There's not a sin that's been transmitted or done to man by man that Jesus didn't die for. And whereas a person may have caused you much pain, and the Lord knows I've caused a lot of people much pain, God is forgiving, and God can forgive, and God can heal. That's the point. That's the point of him going to the cross, to die for sinners. So when we base our relationship with the person based upon what they did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you're not being fair if you're a saint of God. Because guess what? They could have met Jesus just like you and changed. But you don't want them to change because you want to remember them like they used to be. So my question to you is, if you're going to remember them like they used to be, then why aren't you like you used to be? Why are you the only one super saint that has a relationship with God and everybody else is a fake? Everybody else is a charlatan. People can change. People can make the choice to change. God can empower them. They can walk out by faith, even in spite of you believing that they are the way they were when you met them, when they caused you, quote unquote, living hell in your life. Guess what? They can now bless you. The validity of their change is not based upon what you think. The validity of their change is based upon a sovereign God acting upon a sin-sick soul and saving them. And now they are walking out their life being sanctified into God, being conformed into the image of God by the Holy Spirit, just like you. Just like you. Everybody's been hurt at some point. And for you super duper duper saints, they ain't never done nothing, God bless you, but you're lying. You just ain't been caught up. But for those of us who've been caught up, caught awry, caught in, caught out, God is a great God. He died for us. He didn't die for the super saints that a person who's not sick don't need a physician. But for those of us who have fallen short daily, for those of us who have been egregious in our lives, for those of us who have done things that are unimaginable, you never catch God off guard. David was a murderer and a rapist. Rahab, all the way through the Bible, she's referred to as a harlot. Noah was a drunk. Abraham was a liar. Paul was a murderer. Blasphemer. By Paul's own admission, he was a blasphemer. So what is this thing with us that we always want to hold people to what they used to be? Because we don't want to identify who they could be and who God has called them to be. That's how God gets the glory. Because when you see the change in a person, you can't take the credit for it. Only person can take the credit for the change in that person is God. I mean, I was working out and I read something and it just overwhelmed me with compassion in that I don't want to tell everybody. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how bad the society may make it seem. And this is what I want to tell you. There are consequences to your action that you can't avoid being in this earth. But guess what? There's one consequence to your action that you don't have to pay for if you come to Christ, is your sin. See, you may have to deal with the natural consequences, but you have to deal with the eternal ramifications of it. You may have to deal with the day-to-day activities. Like I explained to them like this. The seeds you plant, whether they're weeds or flowers, are going to come up. And when you plant seeds that are weeds, they're going to come up as weeds. They're not going to come up as flowers. But when you plant the righteous seeds of God, the flowers from the day you start planting righteous and making good decisions will come up flowers because they're right decisions. And the more flowers you plant, it may not cover the weed, but God may let that flower of good decisions and righteousness grow over the weed. But see, everybody wants to still just deal in the weeds. They don't want to see your flowers. This is going to be an encouraging word, but I just want to tell you, face to face, y'all, quit doing that. Don't tell me you moved on and then you call somebody a fake. You haven't moved on. Because you see they preaching God now, or they confessing God, and they're living different. When is the last time you were really in their life? 20 years ago, 10 years ago? People do not want, ungodly people, fake saints, do not want to see other saints rise up. You want to keep them in the same jacket you had on 20 years ago. That's a good part and the bad part about being in St. Louis. Do you know, my brothers and sisters, St. Louis, that I've been many, many places all around the world. Sorry. I've been many places all around the world, all around the United States. And we're the only place where there's a value in where you go to high school at, to the point it's sometimes dangerous and ridiculous. I am 57 years old. Who cares about what race I ran, what touchdown I made, what tackle I did or did not make in 1982? That is not the sum of my life. I love it on one end, but on the other end, it's totally ridiculous. How you going to value a person's life based upon where they went to high school with? Just think about that. Why do you want to keep that jacket on them? Yeah, it's a good jacket to remember and go back to, but why do you want to keep that jacket on them? What they did in the past. Isn't it better to live one day in God and spend eternity with him like the thief on the cross, who was a thief? Remember the thief on the cross that didn't have a chance to do good or evil? But because he believed in what Jesus was offering him, he said, today you're going to be with me in paradise. Not once you do something good, not once you please the people. You're going to die a thief because you made the decisions to be that way. And the other thief said, if you were really God, get us down. See, there's natural consequences to the decisions that you make. Jesus' natural consequence to obey God and the decisions that he made ended him up on that cross. Not because he was a guilty man, but he was guilty of wanting to save the whole world. And he was willing to take your sin and my sin, no matter when it was committed, and put it on the cross with him. Surprisingly or not, Judgment Day came already once, and Jesus took the brunt of it. Judgment Day gonna come again, and he's not gonna take the brunt. He's gonna be the judge. So my question to you super saints, can you suffer through some saints that have changed, even though you might remember and their past might be egregious towards you? I want you to think about that. I want you to really think about that. Can you suffer through the pain of your past to let someone else grow? Can you forgive them? If you love much, you'll forgive much. You'll find that in the Bible. There was a lady who loved much, and because her sins were many, she loved much, and she needed a large forgiveness. But for you super saints that really ain't done nothing, I understand. You can't love much because you don't think you've done anything. And that's the most egregious thing. You think that you haven't done anything, or you think that you've hidden it. But as we see lately in some things that's happened in society, everything that's done in the dark is going to be brought to the light even when you die. So lighten up, super saints. Baby saints, don't let these super saints stop you from growing up. And God has forgiven all of you. So this is my invitation to you. I don't want you to join no church. I want you to come to Christ. I want you to make peace with God and watch how God will change your heart. And you will become a creature of grace, mercy, and forgiveness. This is Pastor J. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to today's message. We hope that you have been blessed and encouraged. Continue to listen, subscribe, and share on our YouTube page and your favorite podcast platform where we could be reached. Consider donating to this ministry on your favorite platform of choice, Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. We want to thank you for all of your support and especially your prayers. Stay tuned, be encouraged, and be blessed.